My boyfriend said that I was embarrassing him while I was giving birth to our baby. We have been in a relationship for 1 year and we had a baby boy last week. I had a natural birth and my BF was there throughout the whole process. I screamed a lot and each time I did he whispered something like, "Can you stop screaming? You're really embarrassing me." I also threw up a few times and I saw him cover his face in shame. When I held the midwife's hand for comfort he whispered, "Let go of her, stop being so embarrassing." He also said that my birthing position was embarrassing and called me a few vulgar names. I'm really upset about his behavior that day, especially when I needed his support the most. When I try to talk to him about it, he denies ever saying it and that I'm being silly. Edit. I know that there are a lot of comments, but I'm reading them all, and I just want to thank everybody for the advice and support so far. I spoke to my mum about this, but she is the very traditional type, and although she said his behavior is wrong, I should try couple counseling first. I really don't think he is going to listen to me when I suggest getting help, but I'll try. I'm also going to talk to my public health nurse. Edit 2. Thank you so much to everybody who commented and supported me with words and those who have also been in similar situations. I have since tried to discuss the option of couple counseling to him, but to no avail, which didn't surprise me. My mum has agreed to let me stay there until I can find a new place for myself and baby. I haven't said anything to him yet, I've been advised not to, so I'm still planning out how I'm going to take the next step. Reddit comments and update. I'm surprised your midwife didn't tell him to leave the room when he was acting like that. I'd hate to see how he copes with a crying baby. Keep your eye on him, seriously. I'm going to disagree with the people saying he needs to grow up here, because this isn't an immaturity issue. You don't insult and degrade your partner while they give birth to your child because you're immature. You do it because you're a huge idiot. And you don't gaslight her about it afterwards because you're immature. You do it because you're a huge manipulative prick. He's ensured that one of the biggest things you'll remember about that day is him verbally disrespects you. No good person would ever do this. And I can't imagine someone being an angel up until this point either. I would bet there's more to his behavior, even before this, even if you're not aware of it. My husband shushed me during contractions, no pain relief. A few months later, he got a kidney stone, and even with pain relief, he was crying out in pain. Karma is a thing. I'm so sorry. My child's father, who is no longer around much, and I'm separated from, also acted as though I was embarrassing him. I screamed and screamed. My contractions hurt so horribly, like I was being stabbed over and over, and he just looked at me so rudely and literally left the room a few times. All I can remember of this day is mostly him making me feel like I was doing something wrong. I deserved better. You deserve better. Please get out now. Op, thanks for sharing this. Can I ask if he mistreated you in other ways too? And how did you go about leaving him? He actually started out normal. Over the progression of the pregnancy, he began to be intimidated by me and jealous. I'm very kind and nothing to be jealous of. He was insecure and started to be degrading. He used to call me out of shape and a call girl often. He told me I was wasting someone's scholarship money going to college because I was too dumb to graduate. This was in 2018. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in the winter of 2019. He would raise a hand on me when I would call him out on his disrespect. He secretly unlocked my windows so he could get back into my house when I tried to kick him out. There is so much more. He went to prison for the first year of her life for unrelated crimes, and that's basically how I escaped. I literally shat myself a lot while having a contraction. Then my water broke a minute after. My husband helped the nurse clean me up. Then he helped hold me up as I delivered our son. Not to mention him holding everything together at home the whole time and constantly being present and ready to help at any moment. That is all said to assure you that your BF's behavior is not normal and is not acceptable. You're not being silly. This is a huge red flag and a big indicator of what his future behavior will be like in stressful situations. Please don't feel like you have to stay with him. Just because you have a baby together. You deserve better than this. I literally shat myself. 2 of 3 women poop themselves when giving birth. So, can you only imagine if op did? Childbirth isn't pretty. Is beautiful bringing life in the world, but everything else is nope. A lot of fluids and stuffs. Update. Thank you so much for everyone's advice and support, both through DMS and on the original post. I want to update as many people were very concerned, and I promised it to a few people. Reading people's responses reassured me about how serious the situation was, and how I'd be stupid if I stayed in the relationship and allowed it to get worse. I spoke to my mum, who recommended couple counseling, and if that didn't work then I would be allowed to live with my parents. I then approached him when he came home and gave him an ultimatum. I told him he can either continue to ignore that he acted horribly during the birth and other numerous times, or he can admit to how he has treated me and apologize and get counseling. But obviously he continued to gaslight me and got extremely angry to the point where he was screaming at both me and the baby. He ended up storming out to his best friends. I was also advised against couple counseling by many of you as you said it often encourages an offender's behavior, which made a lot of sense and I wish I read that before speaking to him. My mum came round after he left and said he's an idiot, and even though she doesn't agree with single parenting, she thought anything would be better than staying with him and enabling his behavior. He has tried to visit me and the baby since as he guessed I was at my mum's. Both my mum and I have told him it's over and that we're leaving the rest down to the courts. I will be telling my solicitor everything so who knows what the custody arrangements will be. I'm just glad that myself and my baby are out of there and I can finally enjoy being a mother. Yesterday I went shopping and bought what I wanted instead of what he wanted and I never felt so free since before I met him. To many people, that will sound ridiculous, but quite frankly he controlled every single aspect of my life. However, I'm planning on going to therapy as I feel like the bad experience I had at my birth as well as his disrespect in other areas has left a profound effect on me. I also called a few domestic abuse hotlines and they gave Northeast some brilliant advice. Thank you to whoever it was that sent me those. What was weird was the best friend he went over to see actually contacted me yesterday to say how happy he is to hear that I'm leaving him. He said he noticed how unhappy he made me and how disrespectful he is around women as a whole, and that the bad behavior didn't exist just towards me but to his colleagues also. So it's good to know that I have a few people on my side. No doubt things will be constantly changing from now until the foreseeable future, and I'm terrified. But the main thing is that I'm away from him and me and my son are safe, and that I'm feeling empowered enough to know that the way he treated me was 100% wrong, and that he will pay the right price as long as I fight for it. Thanks again. I won't forget all of you that helped in the time when I needed it the most. Reddit comments. I had my first child when I was 17. My BF was an idiot too. He was controlling and much like your ex, ruined my early days as a new mum and undermined my confidence as a mother and a person. So I left him, moved back home to raise my daughter alone. I was terrified, lonely and had postnatal depression. I got my mental health back on track, rocked motherhood, thoroughly enjoyed every second of being a mum, raising my incredible girl. She's 26 now, the freedom to go where I wanted, speak to anyone I wanted to, buy things I wanted for myself and my daughter, was so freeing. It's ridiculous how such tiny things make you realize how controlled you really were. By the time my girl was 1 year old, I had a great job that allowed me to have my daughter with me full time. I had my own place, and eventually I met a great guy who treated my daughter as his own. My life was suddenly great. I'm 43 now. I have 3 amazing kids, a wonderful husband, and I wouldn't change a thing. People want to help. Reach out and don't be afraid. Meet other mums for coffees, and don't be afraid of discussing what happened. I bet there's a huge number of people who know him and want to support you. It's especially hard for mothers of small children in these type of situations, They are very prone to isolation and they often feel so trapped by childcare. It's hard enough just getting out to have coffee with friends, much less uprooting and fleeing. Thank God Op split before this escalated. He was going to force her to do 100% of the baby work anyways. May as well just be a single mom surrounded by friends and family who care.